There's a reason it's uncomfortable. It's not a fun thing to talk about. It's not a fun thing to have happen.
Right.
It's not a fun thing to experience. But if we don't have a conversation about it, it'll continue, to exist.
Hello and welcome back to The Movement, a podcast to resource, empower and develop leaders in the fight against human trafficking. Today we have a very special guest, Hilary Krebs. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hilary, from what I know, you are, this is how I know you, you can tell us more, but you are a real estate person?
Yes.
Agent?
Yep.
Is that what you call it?
Realtor, yeah.
Realtor, there's the word. Not a very British word, but I got used to it. And you also are involved with a nonprofit and multiple nonprofits in the fight against human trafficking. Is that true?
Yes. Yep. Very true.
It is you then.
You got it right.
That was my main thing. I want to make sure I had the right person here. Good.
Absolutely.
So your journey, are you from Houston?
So I'm not. I'm originally from Michigan, but I've
Okay.
been here about 12 years now, and so
Okay.
it's definitely home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very different weather world.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I prefer the heat over the cold any day, so
That's
works
good.
for me.
Me too. That works for Scottish people.
Yes.
So you have started your own nonprofit recently.
Yes, absolutely. The Coming Home Foundation.
Coming Home Foundation.
Yep.
So what do you do?
We provide long-term housing, paths to permanent housing, and financial literacy, economic empowerment, so to speak, for survivors of sex trafficking.
Okay, so that is a need.
Yes.
Describe how that. Well, let's go to how did you first come into the moment of I got to do something. What was that moment?
Yeah, I'd always known that I wanted to somehow be involved in the fight against human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't exactly know what that looked like at first, so I kind of just started jumping in where I could. Different organizations, just volunteering here and there, and through work with a certain nonprofit organizations here in Houston, I recognized a very massive gap in just kind of the rehabilitation, so to speak, of survivors. And that is when they come out of these long-term safe housing programs, they've done a lot of work. They're mentally ready to go. They're excited about taking life by the horns. But unfortunately, the system, specifically the housing system, just isn't really set up for them to thrive. So through work with these other organizations, I was asked, as a real estate agent, hey, do you have any resources for these individuals that are ready to go?
So someone was specifically saying to you, hey, real estate, we need your help. Is that how that went?
Yep, absolutely. They were just, having trouble finding resources and knew that I have, a background in housing and unfortunately, there were no resources.
Wow.
There are some, of course, like housing.
When you say resources, help people understand what does that mean?
So, kind of to provide context, when they get out of these safe housing programs, they've been oftentimes living with others, or they don't have rental history, they don't have credit necessarily, they don't have these basic criteria.
Is that because they've only been trafficked in their life? Is that accurate?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a plethora of different reasons for that, but for the most part, whether they've been trafficked and they've kind of always been on the move, or when they, go into these safe housing programs, they're not building rental history. It's amazing programs, but, they're kind of, they're being housed by others. So there's no...
So it looks like a gap. In rental history
a gap in rental history, a gap, of course, in employment history.
Right.
Oftentimes they have credit issues too, which is, an unfortunate reality for a lot of people, regardless of history. But, and those are the main things, even just to get an apartment. A lot of times, they have very strict criteria because of federal fair housing laws. It has to apply to everybody, regardless of circumstance. So oftentimes, as much as they're ready to go and hit the ground running, they have trouble just getting housing, just
approved?
Getting approved.
Ah, okay.
Yep. So, and obviously, you're going to have to go through the application process and get approved. And in areas where, they're near their new places of employment and offer a safety, for lack of a better word, or just are away from these hubs that they might be used to, or that put them at higher risk of re-exploitation.
Okay.
So, and oftentimes those are when quote unquote nicer areas where they might have stricter requirements for approval. That's just kind of one of the issues that they face, kind of the main one. Of course, getting back on your feet. Oftentimes the first step is a rental, an apartment or something along those lines. And so they're really limited. So yeah, that's our goal is to kind of help close that gap by providing, we own our properties so that we can act as landlord, and they can actually build rental history while we walk with them on, furthering their careers, learning how to understand a lease, and hopefully set them up to eventually purchase a home, and just kind of walk with them on that journey in a way that provides them true independence, but a little bit of grace, if that makes sense.
So okay, so I didn't understand that before. And so you own properties.
Yep, that's.
And then how do you do that as a nonprofit? Are you getting money for that, or how's that work?
That's a great question. So
Thank you. I've been working on my questions.
It's a good one. It's a tough one to answer. I mean, obviously,
Okay.
we our goal is full ownership. So we are a new nonprofit. So as of right now, we're still working on crowdfunding because we would like to own the properties outright. That way, we have full autonomy on how. It's more secure for us, and it's more secure for the people that we serve. So. And then in that, we can act as legal landlords. So they're signing, the Texas promulgated lease agreements. We have realtors kind of as a volunteer that can help walk with them so that they can really understand what they're signing. And then eventually, if they move on from us, then they have this baseline of information and also actual rental history that'll help them hopefully move on from us and fulfill everything that they could possibly dream.
So people will fund into your org to purchase locations to allow people to have bridges.
Yes. Yep.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of money.
Yes, I mean, it is. I put a lot of my own money into it too because it's something that we believe in, and of course, it's more upfront.
Yeah.
But that will hopefully make it more sustainable in the long run because we're not.
And people are paying rent, so they're going out. So basically, people have been trafficked. They've found their way out. They've gone to some kind of recovery shelter.
Yep.
They've gotten help. They've got themselves. And so I think something people don't understand in trafficking is that barriers have been designed in their experience. Can you talk to that a bit?
It's interesting because it's systemic in a way, and I won't dive too much into that, but a way that traffickers are able to keep their victims, keep them engaged. They limit them. They take away opportunities for them to grow, and one of those is by taking away the things that they could need to get qualified for housing or whatever other, obviously credit. There's other ways that those barriers manifest, but that's one of the major ones too, because everybody's going to need shelter and need a safe place to lay their head. So if a trafficker can take away somebody's ability to obtain and maintain that for themselves, it's a great way for them to keep them employed by them, right? Basically keep generating cash for them. Yep.
Do they have records from prostitution, or does that happen a lot?
That does happen a lot. There are programs out there through the city and different other entities, nonprofit organizations locally, and I believe nationally too, that are able to wipe clean records as long as they can, prove that it was from a trafficking situation that was outside of their control. But that takes a long time. So just kind of a grace period and a forgiveness period, so that doesn't become a barrier for them as they build everything else.
So your moment was someone asking, and you've been thinking this already.
Yeah.
So let's get up to that moment. How did you get involved in the movement at all? When was your first kind of?
So
I think I should be doing this.
So it's interesting. When I first got started in the movement, I didn't know that there was a movement. I knew. What trafficking was, and I knew that it existed, and I knew how pervasive it was here in Houston, but I didn't realize that there were so many organizations helping. I actually went to what I thought was a networking event and turned out to be...
What a trap.
Yeah. And it's funny because I really am not great at networking events.
Yeah, I don't believe you, but okay.
It was, I think, one of the very first ones that I did. Somebody was
Really?
telling me that I need to do this for my real estate career, and I finally gave in and went to one, and it happened to be a Red M
networking
information session, I believe.
Right. Wow, you're in the deep end then.
Yeah, and it just kind of hit me in the soul. I mean, I know that sounds maybe cheesy, but it was just, I just knew that I was in the right place. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I needed to be here. And so I just kind of jumped in and started volunteering and doing what I could and learning what I could, and here we are.
How did you make that step? You go to this information session. Did you learn things you didn't know?
I did.
Okay. What did you learn?
I think the main thing that I learned was that there were people out there that cared and wanted to help, and that it kind of just put trafficking in a different context for me. It just kind of put things into perspective for me, honestly. And then I think the biggest thing was just knowing that there were people out there and professionals out there, individuals that I could relate to, and that, in a trafficking situation, you might think these kinds of people would never want to be involved with something like this. This is
right.
It just put it into a context.
Seems scary and distant from your average person.
Yeah. And so it was just really enlightening and encouraging to know that there were so many people and so many good people and people that can get things done, that were wanting to get things done and help this movement.
What was the first thing you signed up to do?
Oh my gosh, I think it was Golf for Good.
Golf for Good.
I think so.
My favorite.
I think so. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. I'm not a golfer, but
yeah, it was just fun. I mean, it was fun just being out there with other volunteers and hearing about people's stories and seeing how passionate they were, and then also making it a more approachable subject. I think that was the biggest thing about it, was that I'd seeing people open to the conversation.
Right. Which you would think would be almost taboo.
Yeah.
Particularly sex trafficking. Like just the word sex. It's like no one's bringing that up in polite conversations. So.
Yeah. Yep. And it was.
I love that. I love the fun aspect. I think that's a surprise for most people, is to know that good people doing stuff, but fun.
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
Yeah, but I think that's how it has to be. It has to become an approachable conversation, as uncomfortable as it is. There's a reason it's uncomfortable. It's not a fun thing to talk about. It's not a fun thing to have happen.
Right.
It's not a fun thing to experience. But if we don't have a conversation about it, it'll continue, to exist. So making it an approachable subject, I think, is a very important first step in changing this.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So from there, you got involved more? Did you sign up for more? I know you're on leadership at Red M.
Yeah.
I know that. What was that journey?
Yeah, it was funny because I didn't really have a goal. I just wanted to help. So anytime I got an email that said, hey, we need volunteers, I just signed up, and I just did as much as I could, and I asked questions, and I just really wanted to help. And then your amazing team, the amazing Red M family, asked me to come and be a part of the strategic summit. I can't remember. I guess it was maybe a year and a half into volunteering. Yeah, I mean, just being able to contribute and having my voice be heard in a room full of individuals that are very experienced and people I would look up to. And I just, every opportunity that I could to help, I did. And here we are.
Now, you've shared a story with me before about the summit and a particular question that was asked. You want to share a bit of that perspective? Yeah.
It was interesting and really profound. It put things into perspective for me. I think just hearing other people's thoughts on what a world without trafficking would look like, or what is one thing that, I think the question was, what is one thing about the world that could be changed that could eliminate human trafficking? Like what's one thing? What would the world look like?
Yeah, what would the world look like without trafficking?
Yeah. And it was interesting. Everybody went around and was writing on sticky notes what one thing was. And I just remember I was sitting in the back and I kept writing and scratching it out and rewriting. And, it came around to me and I just said, everybody in here is right. It's not that it's one thing, it's not. A world without trafficking is a world without exploitation. It's a world without excess. It's a world where people care about each other first And in order to do that, it's really just a paradigm shift. I mean, it's everything about the way we operate as a society would shift. And it's hard to explain exactly, but, you know, it's like everybody in there, everybody's answers was correct, but it's changing the entire way that we function and the way that we see each other and the way we treat each other as people. And I do believe that that's possible. It's a long journey, I think, but there's so many amazing people out there doing amazing things and genuinely wanting to help restores your faith in humanity and where we can take the world.
Sounds like the Red M environment almost projects that. Like, what would that look like? Yeah, I think so. And I think recognizing that we're all humans and we're all in this together and, you know, we're learning and it's just about intention. You know, we're trying our best and we're caring and we're understanding of other people and their circumstances and whatever we can do to step in and fill a gap and just show other people that no matter what they've been through, they matter. That's huge. Did that moment push you over the edge into I'm going to start my foundation, or was that already there? So no, it wasn't there. It's funny. It wasn't until probably 6 months later. I didn't even expect to get, you know, to be on leadership, or I just kind of wanted to help. So it wasn't until 6 months later or so when I got more involved with United Against Human Trafficking, and that's when they kind of brought me in as a housing expert to see if I had resources to fill that gap. And I thought to myself, well, there's not really any resources. There's some, but they're imperfect and a lot of times limiting. And I'm like, well, I know how to solve this problem, so why don't we try to solve it? I think it's the beauty of the movement itself is everyone has something to offer. And in your case, your work was exactly what you had to offer, which is lovely. Yep. So what is United Against Human Trafficking? So we're talking about it. Yeah. So another wonderful organization. They're a coalition of a plethora of different anti-human trafficking organizations here in Houston that kind of work in tandem to provide a pathway for survivors to restart their lives in a sense. They do a lot of other things as well, but you know the coalition itself is just a group of several different anti-human trafficking nonprofit organizations that provide different types of services. So is that a place where everyone who's doing something can get together? Is that what that is? Can get together, share resources, share information, learn together. Well, that's good. That's nice to know. I think every city should have something like that where all the organizations can actually work and interact. That's great. So then you go 6 months down the road, they ask you the question, and then you're suddenly like, aha, like there's something here. Yeah. Where is your vision? What are you imagining you can take this to, or you and many others, I assume, can take this to? I just want to be a resource. I want to give individuals that are coming out of this sort of situation an opportunity to be whatever they want to be. And I think all of us working together, all of the organizations around around Houston, around Texas, around the world, just providing whatever niche service we can to create, a tangible outline and a tangible pathway from start to finish, whatever service that is. And I guess I just see it as a long line of hand-holding or mentorship or whatever individuals need from start to finish. And I hope that lasts forever. I hope that this bleeds over into other social services and changing other issues in society. I don't know. I just see it as a big picture, a long term, and just gradually over time changing people's lives and making a ripple effect that hopefully changes the world. Yeah. I think you're describing, or how you're describing, is very common in the anti-trafficking world, where what you see is a problem and I'm going to solve that problem because I know I can solve it for a person. Yeah. And then there's another person and another person. And because the problem is so large, the idea of solving the big problem is not the way to solve the problem. Exactly. It's everyone doing a thing. And I think that's true of Red M and other things. It's finding, I can do something. Yeah. I have my life. I got to manage my life. You have to sell houses. Yeah. So if anyone wants to buy one, I don't know, look up Hillary, get yourself a house. Because you're helping other things. Because in your life isn't just the house selling, but it's also the helping others. Yep. But I think that's important. I think everyone learning that our lives don't stop to fight human trafficking, our lives continue.
Yeah, to help it. And, and we walk hand in hand with other individuals. I think to your point, we all want to solve the problem, but the best way to do that is collaborate, find what small thing you can do to help, and be very open to working with everybody else. That's the only way this is going to work, is if all of us work together as opposed to one person or one organization trying to do it all. That's never going to work. We're really all in this together, and there's no way we can do it without each other.
Yeah, I think it's the beauty of it, is that finding ways, to make it work, finding ways to get involved with others. And we're often looking for where's something happening that we don't have to do it. We can just have someone else do that part. We'll do this part.
Yep, absolutely.
And I love that you found a part that no one was doing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone turns up and there's something they have to offer, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
It really is. It really is. And we're very fortunate too that we have so many other organizations here that provide the services that we can kind of be the source of the source. We'll provide the foundation. No pun intended, but
pun happened.
Yes, we provide the foundation and the housing, and kind of walk with them on setting goals and making sure that they can maintain this, long term, but also in that connecting them with the resources needed to further their career, set other sorts of goals, and fix their credit or their background, and other things like free healthcare for survivors, all these things that you wouldn't necessarily think about but are so important. Just kind of being the source of the source so that they can rebuild their lives in, all the way around.
Well, I don't think everyone understands how complex it is to come out, never mind just the recovery journey, which is complex trauma and very much cult-like undoing of thinking.
Yeah.
But when they get to the end of that journey, there's so many other things, and you're learning it because you have a piece, but there's lots of other pieces that need to be there. And people don't think of it. They don't think of health. They don't think of dental. They don't think of things that have not been happening in their life.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you get to be, I can sense I'm only this part, like that's all I can do, is that I'm doing what I can do. But the beauty of it is there's all these other people picking up the different parts. So.
Yep. It's a movement, right? So each of us plays what we might feel a small role, but it's an imperative piece of the puzzle.
And we need everyone. We need everyone to be involved and solve this together. But I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And I hope people watching this follow what you're doing and support and jump in, and particularly if this is I want to be in that part, and I want to be a part of that solution. So
well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and everybody else here in this movement. Really good group of people we've got here.
It's fun, which is strange, as we said, but it's really good
to help people, and it's good to work with other good people with good hearts, and gives you faith. Everything's going to work out.
That's great. Well, thank you, Hillary. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back sometime.
Sounds good. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.